let's talk about this blue supermoon happening tonight and the opportunity that it's affording you. So this is going to be a little more complex, but I'll do my best to simplify it for you so that everyone can understand this. The blue supermoon is asking you to reconnect to that innocent part of you, to that younger child that you used to be, that used to climb trees and that used to do cartwheels and had so much hope and so much excitement for life. And at the time, you were blindsided in a way because you didn't anticipate what was going to happen, how difficult life would become. And so typically at the age of 5, 6, or 7, and I'm just making up those numbers, but usually when you're young, there's some trauma that happens in your life. And when that trauma happens, it's like you split off in your mind and you start going into survival mode and you start living from that place. So I want you to not villainize the ego. I feel like the ego gets such a bad rap, but it's like the ego is what's kept you safe your whole life, even though you didn't feel safe your whole life. You didn't feel safe because you were operating as the ego. But it kept the younger part of you safe and innocent and pure. So I want you to really stop villainizing the ego, because the ego is like a guard dog. It stepped in when it needed to step in, and it has kept the younger part of you safe, even though you haven't felt safe, because again, you were primarily operating from the ego throughout your life. So last night, I saw how from the age of 7, when my trauma happened, I had a really bad trauma that happened when I was 7, to the age of 40, which is the age I am now, not for much longer, but whatever. Okay, so to the age I am now, 33 years of survival. 33 years of survival. Dealing with life, surviving, fending for myself, trying to find ways to make money, all of this, just survival mode. And I saw how I accumulated all these amazing life experiences, even though it was painful and challenging. And all of a sudden last night, I saw myself click back into the 7-year-old boy. And I got really honest with myself. And I said, this is who I actually am. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. That was the realest statement that I could have said, because it felt like the truest statement. You know, a lot of times in life, we're trying to focus on what areas to heal within ourselves, and we're trying to maintain our composure, but there's still kind of effort involved in that. And last night I saw how there's no effort involved when you get honest about the fact that you're still that little boy or that little girl who's afraid. That's who you are. Okay? And somehow you got frozen in time, and the ego took over. And the ego started protecting you and shielding you from the world as best as it could. But that little boy or girl in you has never moved. It's been frozen in time. So this wonderful thing is happening through this blue supermoon, where you have a chance to start over, but take the different direction. So I'll explain it like this. So you're 7 years old or 8 years old, something happens to you that traumatizes you. You split off, right? You split off, let's say in the direction right, left, right. You go right your whole life, and you accumulate all these experiences. You gain all this wisdom. You get into relationships. You learn how to make money. You do all these things to develop yourself, okay? But it's still survival. This blue supermoon is allowing you to come back to this initial point and to see everything you've been through, and to now go left. Does that make sense? And guess what the cool news is? The cool news, the good news is that now that you've lived out all these fearful scenarios, right, and all these stressful scenarios, you could almost step back one notch, and rather than going down that path, you can say, I'm not afraid, okay? I'm not afraid. I have a chance to rewrite my story and to go in this direction. Because what really caused your fear was that trauma, yeah? But now you have a chance to step back right before the trauma happened, and you have a chance to go this way. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So it's almost like a new chance at life. You get to still have that innocence and that purity and that honesty, but with all the wisdom that your ego has accumulated, you now get to navigate life the way you want to navigate life. You get to create the experience you want to create from a very honest and stripped down. You're like stripped down. You're who you are. You get to create life from that place. That's what the blue supermoon is allowing you to do right now, is to come back to that part of you that is afraid. You've always been afraid. You just haven't wanted to admit it. You haven't had time to admit it. You've been in survival. And you get to say, I'm still me and I'm still afraid. I'm a little boy and life dragged me by the heels and I don't know what happened. But I know that I learned a lot. And I also know that I don't want to live in survival anymore. And now that I know this and I've come back to myself, the 7-year-old boy who is innocent and pure and honest, I can see how everything unfolded and I played that out. I've lived that life. And now I can take my power back and go this direction instead with everything that I know, which means that you're not going to let people push you around. You're not going to feed into fear. You're not going to blame anyone. You're going to start taking responsibility. You're going to empower yourself. And this is what the blue supermoon is affording you. It's giving you this incredible opportunity to give thanks for all the experiences that you've had because they've made you wiser. And also to come back to that innocence, to that curiosity, to that playfulness, to that purity of mind and heart, and to say, I'm going to do it my way because the other way didn't work out for me. I asked people to help me when I had trauma. They didn't want to help me. I asked for this or for that. No one had my back. So now I have to have my own back. And I have the wisdom necessary to be able to navigate, but as my pure, innocent self. Does that make sense? So I know that I rambled a little bit, but I needed to really explain it to you, and I hope it helps you, and I hope that you share this with your friends. Don't miss out on this opportunity, okay? You're not who you think you are. Who you are is a little girl or a little boy that is afraid. You're afraid. And you thought life would be fun, and you thought life would be adventurous, and you were disillusioned. And now you can see the red carpet right before it rolls, which is the life that you've already lived. And you could say, I see this red carpet rolling, but I'm going to go on this carpet instead. I'm going to go this way instead. Because I know who I am now. And I know that if I give my power to someone else, they will decide for me. I have to maintain my own power. If I don't like engaging in small talk, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to talk just to please you. If I don't want to be treated a certain way, I will set a boundary with you because now as this innocent child that I am, I will not allow you to F with me. I will not. I am in my light, I'm pure, I'm innocent, and that innocence should be honored. It should be respected, okay? So you're renewed. You're your new self, but you still have all this amazing information that your entire life has given you, right? You're not going to operate from that place anymore, but your ego went out for you to gather all this data, and now you're going to operate as your renewed self, as your pure self, but also with the wisdom that the ego collected for you. So I hope this helps you. I love you. Hang in there and open up your heart and receive these changes.